All right, I'm going to be going over the multiplying decimals homework. We have number 1. At the zoo, the polar bears are fed 1/10 of a bucket of fish a day. The penguins are fed 83 hundredths that amount. How much of a bucket are the penguins fed? So they are taking they have a part of what the polar bears, because think polar bears are going to eat a lot more than penguins. So this is what the polar bears were eating, which is really the same as if I had 10 hundredths, but they are getting almost a whole amount, because if I rounded the penguins, that's really close to 1. So they're almost getting a 10th, but they're getting a part of this. So I have this is what our polar bears are getting. And we're not getting this much. We're getting of this. Out of this, we're not getting the same amount. We're getting a part of their part. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to multiply. Because when we say of, we're multiplying. So I'm going to put my number with the most digits on top. And remember, when you're multiplying, you really just do the regular multiplication and then worry about decimals. Well, I know I'm just going to get 83 again because I'm just timesing it by 1. The difference is my decimal is not going to be in the same spot. So I have 1, 2, 3 numbers behind the decimal. I need my answer to be even smaller. So the answer is 83 thousandths of a pound. Or of a bucket, I guess. I'm going to use another way real quick just to show you how that makes sense. When I'm saying of, I know that's multiplying. And I know that 1/10 as a decimal is the same as 1/10 as a fraction. And I know that means I'm really dividing. Because if I'm saying this is 1/10. So if I think of base 10s and multiplying and dividing with powers of 10, I know when I multiply by less than a whole, if I was multiplying it by 10, I'd get bigger. But I'm multiplying it by part, a 10th, which is the same as dividing it by 10. Which is why that makes sense, because when I divide, I'm getting smaller. I'm getting part of it, 1/10 of it. I'm actually working backwards. I'm dividing and moving my decimal. Number 2. On Halloween, 3 friends each received 7/10 of a pound of candy. That is a lot of candy. How much candy did they receive total? Okay, so I have 7/10. Blake has 7/10. Clayton has 7/10. There's 3 of us. I could add, right? But when I'm adding, I'm thinking, 7 times 3, 21. My decimal still is going to go here. I could multiply 7/10 times 3. Again, I'm thinking 21. I have 1 decimal, so my decimal needs to go here. It's going to be about 1, 2, 3, right? It's going to be less than 3 whole because I have less than 1 whole for each. So 2 1/10 pounds of candy total. It's a lot of candy. Number 3, Janet can type 4 6/10 sentences per minute. If she typed for 4 whole minutes, how much would she have typed? So this is for 1 minute. Again, I could do this. Or I could just take, for 1 minute, I need to take it times 4. Now, I know I don't have 184 sentences because 4 times 4 is 16. And even if I rounded that up, 5 times 4 is 20. So my answer is going to make sense with it being 18. And I can check by saying, oh, look, there's 1 decimal, 1 decimal. So 18 4/10 sentences is how much she typed. Number 4, at the malt shop of a large chocolate shake takes 8/10 of a pint of milk. If the medium shake takes 300, so this is large, this is medium, the amount of the large, so I'm taking part of this. It's smaller than large, it's only going to be 3/100 of the 8/10. How much does the medium shake take? So I'm taking part of the whole. So I'm going to multiply because of means multiply. I do want my number that's the longest at top. Otherwise, I'm just going to have to add a 0 and it's just going to take longer. Okay, again, I'm really just multiplying two numbers. 8 and 3 is 24. But my question is, where does the decimal go? When I'm multiplying hundredths and by tenths, you're going to end up in the thousandths place. So I have 1, 2, 3. So don't think, it's obviously not going to be 2.4. So if I think of all my options here, I know it's one of these. It's definitely not 24 because I'm taking less than a whole times even smaller. I'm getting a part of a part. It's going to be less than this. So that's not an option. This, not an option. So I am then down to these two choices. But I know if I'm multiplying hundredths by a tenth, I'm going to get even smaller. But I would just count your decimals. It looks scary. It looks like a lot of zeros, a lot of numbers. So all you have to do is think 8 times 3 and how many decimals do I need to have. All right, number 5. George had a bucket that was 4/10 full of apples. If he ended up throwing out 39/100 of them, so I'm taking this much of my original whole, which is it's less than half, because they were rotten, out of the total amount, George has how many of them left? Okay, so I'm trying to figure out how much I threw away first. This is kind of a trick question. So I'm going to take my number and multiply it. So I'm finding a part of it. Okay, I have 156. I know my decimal's in there somewhere. I have 1, 2, 3 spots. Now this is what we threw away. But the question actually asks, out of the total amount George had, how many of them were, oh, never mind. It is asking for bad. So this is it. I thought they were asking how many is left. If they said how many is left, you would take your total you started with and subtract the ones you threw away. But it actually just asks for how many are thrown away. So that much is thrown away. Not much of the bucket. Number 6. An old road was 3 9/10 miles long. After renovation, it was 3 7/10 as long. How long was the road after the renovation? So it actually got a little bit shorter. Because we're saying it is now 3 7/10 times as long. Oh, it's got longer. I'm sorry. So I'm going to line it up. Don't worry about the decimals until the end. 63, 21, and 6 is 27. Shift over. Okay, now I'm thinking this is about 4 times 4, which is 16. So 14 is going to make sense. It's about 4 times as long. But I'm going to also check and see I have 1, 2 decimals, 1, 2 decimals. That's how it goes. I like to round because when there's decimals involved, it just confuses my brain a little bit. And I'm thinking, okay, well, this is saying it was about 4 originally, and it got almost 4 times longer. So now it's 16. 16 is going to be higher because I rounded both, but this makes sense. All right, number 7. Janet made spicy and regular chili for the chili cook-off. She had enough spicy to fill up 2/10 of a pot, so this is the spicy. If she made 4 times as much regular chili, how many pots of regular did she have? Okay, let me read that again. So this is how much she had for spicy. If she made 4 times as much regular chili, how many? Okay, so yeah. So this is her portion that is spicy. 2/10 of it spicy, 8/10 of it's regular. In general, she's making 4 times as much as her original batch. So now instead of 2/10 of it being spicy, 8/10 will be spicy. I could also do 2, 4, 6, 8, and just keep adding and just leave your decimal there. But when you're timesing by a whole, it is going to get bigger, but it's not going to get, the decimal's still going to be there. It's not going to just get rid of that decimal. All right, number 8. Janet needed 3 3/10 meters of thread to finish a pillow she was making. If she has 2 times as much thread as she needed, what is the length of the thread she had? Okay, so here's how much she needs. She's got 2 times that. Where's my decimal go? My decimal is technically here for my 2, but there's nothing behind the decimal. There's only one decimal here. It's just the same as 3 3/10 plus 3 3/10. And the label will be meters. Number 9, a box of folders weighed 3 5/100 kilograms. If you have 3 boxes, how much would it weigh? Just timesing it by 3. I could add 3 times. I have 2 decimals involved. I'm about doing 3 times 3, which is 9. I could do partial products very easily with this and think if I had timesing it by 3, I had the 3 whole and 5/10. I know that's going to be 9. I know that's going to be I'm messing up. And then just put those together. 9.15. 0.15. I just messed myself up. Just do the regular multiplication. Number 10. A bottle of soda had 2 36/100 of the daily recommended sugar if you were to drink 7/10 of the bottle. So if you didn't drink the whole thing, if you drank the whole thing, you'd have 2 36/100 sugar. You only drank 7/10 of it. So how much did you drink? It's going to be less than 2 36/100. It's going to be kind of close, but less than that. 42, 21 and 4 is 25. 14, 16. I have 1, 2, 3 decimals. Think, is 16 going to make sense? I have smaller. It's going to be smaller than 2. This is going to make sense, and I can count my 3 decimals and 3 decimals over. So that's how much sugar she drank. All right, there's multiplying decimals.